Good afternoon, everybody. Tonight's dinner is going to be baked spaghetti and using my penne noodles. I'm sure I probably says that wrong, but anyway, we're going to need a pack of hamburger meat. This is about 1.5 pounds. You're going to need a seasoning blend, or you're going to need chopped onions and bell pepper and celery. I just use a seasoning blend. It's just so much easier. A can of diced tomatoes. I've got tomato paste and tomato sauce. I'm using the roasted garlic. You can use just the plain. I'm going to be seasoning it with salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, my crazy mixed up salts, and garlic powder. Once I get all this done, and I will add up my cheeses, and I'll show you how it's all put together. Okay, so we are going to brown the hamburger meat with the onion blend. If you don't have the seasoning mix, you can just use like a small onion and, I don't know, maybe half a bell pepper. If you don't want to make your own homemade sauce, you can also just use a can or a jar of ragu, Prego, one of those. I just would go ahead and make meat to go with it, salt and pepper it. As far as the seasonings, I just kind of like sprinkle salt across, sprinkle pepper. Usually the way I measure it is pretty much it covers, it'll cover the top. You sprinkle enough to cover the top. Now, a lot of people wait and put their Italian seasoning in last or towards the end. I do it this way because I like to cook it in with the meat. If not, to me, you might get, like, when you take a bite, you might get feel like a little piece of leaf or something in your teeth. So I like to do it this way. So I'm going to get this all browned up, and then I'm going to add my diced tomatoes, my sauce, and my paste to it, and then let it simmer. Okay, so once the meat is browned, and as you can see, the vegetables are clear or they're softened, that's when you go ahead and you add in. I had turned this down to medium to finish cooking the vegetables because the meat browned faster. So we're going to put in our tomato sauce. We're going to put in our stewed tomatoes. And we're going to add, now I'm going to put in my paste, but I forgot to grab a spoon. So I'm going to have to kind of scoop that out. Now for the water, I usually use a can of the, from the diced tomatoes. If you're not using diced tomatoes, I would use a can of the tomato sauce water and a can of the tomato paste water. So I'm going to get the paste put in there, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the paste, the tomatoes, and the sauce added. And I did add another can of water so that I could get all the paste out. So this should be the consistency you want it. You want your sauce kind of thick, but you don't want it, too thick. You're going to let this simmer. We're going to put this on medium, and we're going to cover it, and we're going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to start our noodles, and we will go from there. Okay, so I got my noodles cooked. I boiled these for about 9-10 minutes until they were al dente. You could boil them a little bit longer. I like to boil them about that tenderness. I rinse them with cold water to kind of slow the cooking process down. And then what I do, now the cheeses, you can mix up whatever cheese you want. That's the fun thing about baked spaghetti. This is what I had in my freezer. I had some Parm, I had some 6-cheese Italian, and I had some 3-blend cheddar. I've done this with just Parm and cheddar cheese. I've done it different ways. So what I do is I sprinkle the Parmesan cheese directly on the noodles before I put the meat. If you have mozzarella, whatever cheese you have you could shred up or you have in your freezer. I keep my cheese in the freezer because that way it just lasts longer. So once you get that, then you're just going to I did cook this, the meat for about 30 minutes and then on medium, and then I turned it to medium low after about 30 minutes, and then I kept it on medium low while I cooked the noodles. So that way, you figure the meat cooked for approximately about 40 minutes total, simmer time and all that. So you're just going to cover it. You're going to cover all your noodles with your meat sauce. And again, the meat sauce should be thick. And if you don't you don't want to make your own homemade sauce. This sauce is the same sauce I use for my spaghetti, for my lasagna. you know, I like to make my own sauce. But if you don't, if you prefer the Prego or Ragu, again, I would just suggest browning some hamburger meat with your vegetables and seasonings, just to dress up the canned stuff, you know, so you're not just having just the, you know, that canned flavor. You actually have more of a home cooked flavor. So I'm going to get the rest of this in here. Okay, so once you get all your meat put in, then you're just going to sprinkle your cheeses. Like I said, I've got the 6 cheese Italian, so I'm going to layer this over the top. And I'm going to use up the rest of this bag because it's not, you know, it's not a full bag. So I'm going to wind up using, you know, the rest of this. So I'm just going to get that sprinkled on. So I'm going to get these cheeses sprinkled on, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like right before it goes in the oven. Okay, so this has the 6 cheese Italian and the cheddar blend. And then after I put that on there, what I usually do is I go and I just add, I sprinkle my Parmesan right over the top. If you don't have the shredded like this, if you've got the one in the container, whichever way you want to do it. Some people wait, you know, and they put that on there once they get their plate. They put the Parmesan on once it's already cooked, and that's fine too. So I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 for approximately 30 minutes or until all the cheese is nice and browned and bubbly. Okay, so that actually took 20 minutes to get the cheese all melted and nice and browned. After it comes out the oven, let it rest for a few minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and just scoop out a little bit just so you can see. Look how pretty that is. So, there you go. You've got your nice plate of baked spaghetti. You can make you some garlic bread with it or just eat it up like this. Again, usually I let it sit for a few minutes. It kind of gets all the juice up in the noodles, but I just wanted to scoop it out just to show y'all real quick. So again, baked spaghetti. If y'all have any questions, just let me know. If not, enjoy y'all.